some of that. You know, that's what our team needs. We got to have that type of grit. What I love about Pat is that, you know, the same approach he had day one coming into the league to prove himself is the same approach he takes out to the floor every single night, no matter what the stakes are, no matter who he's playing alongside. And he's not afraid of any challenge that's out there on the floor, whether it be a game, an opponent, a circumstance. And, you know, that kind of fortitude goes a long way. It gives courage to your whole team.
And Gerson, Pat mentioned how you brought him over. What did you see in him all those years ago and how have you seen his career grow to where it is now?
I mean, to be fair, Pat deserves credit for that. I mean, he played his way into a situation where he got an NBA team's attention, and we had tracked him through the draft. We tracked him internationally. And at the end of the day, and to me it's a little ironic, but the reason we brought him to Houston is the same reason we're bringing him to Minnesota. We need that urgency. We need that competitiveness. We need that fire. And like Coach said, that's who he is. I mean, there's no difference to him day one to 10 year in the league. That's what he's going to bring. But his ability, his experience is where he's been throughout the league to impact not only on the defensive end, but the offensive end. His fit with us of how we play, the tenacity, the intensity, we needed that as a group. We've got a good group of guys. We've got good talent. But we need to take that next step. That's what we've talked about all offseason. And we need to balance out the roster with good vets that have had success and that know what it takes. Defensively, our need for improvement, it comes with what he's just talking about. It's the accountability from top to bottom. It's the guys doing what they need to do day in and day out. It's hard to get an acquisition where you pick up a guy that can change the whole defense. We have to change the culture. We have to change the environment. And we have a guy that has the urgency, that fights, that works, that'll do whatever it takes to make sure that we're successful.
Pat, Jace Frederick here at the St. Paul Pioneer Press. In your experience, that competitiveness, that fire that you bring, does that rub off on all of your teammates?
For the most part. For the most part. I mean, it comes organically. And when I say organically, it comes from a place where it's not, I'm not trying to, you know, put you down. I'm trying to win. You know, So I'm just trying to win. I made the playoffs every year since I've been in the NBA, and I don't expect that to change.
Chris, you have a group that has a lot of guys who both can play point guard, bring the ball up the floor, but can also simultaneously kind of play off ball there. How do you kind of see that balance working with the kind of group of point guards or lead ball handlers you have, including Pat?
Yeah, we're spoiled for choice. I think what I love about our roster, is that we have interchangeable parts. We don't. I mean, positionless basketball has been kind of come, you know, in vogue in the last couple of years. But you know, we don't want D'Angelo on the ball exclusively. You know, we want him to be out there off the ball where he can also utilize a whole part of his skill set. So we feel like we can put 3 point guards on the floor, given particularly when you think of the defensive prowess that Pat brings, because we can slide him to any matchup we want on the perimeter. He's not afraid of giving up 6-7 inches to battle. So this is great because you can get your best talent on the floor and you can play the matchup game, and you can then, you know, kind of cycle through lineups at different points in the game.
We're going to take our next question from the Zoom. Chris Hine, go ahead.
Question is for Pat. Pat, how can this team improve defensively? What qualities do you think this team needs to have in order for it to improve from being one of the lowest defensive rated teams last year?
I say to be students of the game first, right? Understand what's going on, understand positioning, understand spacing, understand timing. And once you understand those things, when you're a student of the game, you're able to become a teacher, and you're able to kind of, when you're a defensive player or you were in the NBA for a long time, you're able to teach the defense or teach that position, and you put yourself in a position to be successful defensively. So I think we have to be students first. And when I mean students, I mean, you know, we have to listen to what, you know, the coaching staff wants, have to buy in, definitely have to buy in, whether if it's good for you. What might be good for you might not be good for the team. So first is buying in, and after that, you know, you buy in, you be a student, everything else take care of itself.
We'll go last question on the Zoom to Leonardo. Leonardo, go ahead.
Hi, Pat. It's Leonardo Torres from Peru. Hope you're well. But what is the role you would like to have in the team this season?
I don't know, at the end of the season, you look, what changed in the roster. Me, TP here, we made the playoffs. I don't think it's about a role. I just want to win. That's it. I know it sounds, I'm so simple, but I mean, that's the only thing I like to do is win. I like to win when playing cards. I like to win video games. I like to win shooting drills. I just like to win. So whatever role we're winning is a part of.
All right, thank you for those questions. Time for a photo op with Chris and Gerson and Pat up on here on the stage. All right, Pat, thank you very much. Let's welcome Taurean Prince to the stage. Taurean has appeared in 301 regular season games over 6 NBA seasons with Atlanta, Brooklyn, and Cleveland, averaging 11 points and 4 rebounds a game. Taurean brings positional flexibility and a reliable outside shot. Last season in 29 games with Cleveland and 12 with Brooklyn, he hit 40% of his three-point shots. The 6'7" forward saw his best season with the Hawks during the 17-18 season. He played all 82 games while averaging a career-best 14 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists per contest. We'll open it up to questions once again.
Hey, Taurean, John Krasinski with The Athletic. Just wondering when the deal first came down and you found out you're coming to Minnesota, what's the initial reaction? And as you've kind of had a chance to process it, how do you feel about the opportunity here?
Well, coming in, I knew they had a lot of good pieces, and obviously Cat and D'Lo, and then hearing about the trade with Pat. But my experience on other teams, coming to Minnesota is probably one of the toughest places to play. So being on the team now, it gives us that advantage, and obviously moving forward and pushing and getting past the things that we weren't able, well, now I'm saying but we weren't able to do last season, and now we can finally kind of make that jump.
Hey, Taurean, as a new player coming into a franchise who hasn't had a lot of success, do you view that as like a challenge, as wanting to be part of the solution, I guess, to get the team where it hasn't been before?
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm all for it. Been a part of tougher things in my life. So this is like Pat said, I'm gonna piggyback off of him. It's just basketball. It's about the things in between, staying together, building that camaraderie, and doing what we have to do to get wins.
Taurean, as the league has gotten a little bit smaller, obviously we have the small ball four, right? That's out there these days. You've played some small forward, some power forward. Where your game is right now, which position do you see yourself, best acclimated to?
Well, I think you kind of answered it. I can go from 3, 4. I mean, in my career, I've played some 5, depending on the situation, time and score. But I mean, it's just wherever I'm asked to be, and wherever I'm told to try to affect the game, that's what I'm gonna do.
Hey, Gerson, just when you were looking at people to target and deals that were coming available, what did stick out to you about Taurean and what you think he can bring to this roster?
The versatility that he brings is important, offensively and defensively. He's played in a similar system in Brooklyn and had a lot of success there, which is a good fit for us. We want to balance out our roster with guys who can defend multiple positions, that can defend in multiple ways, and he gives us that. The ability that he brings offensively as a spot shooter is something that we've been really looking at here over the last 2 years, consistency in that area. And the focus is, my job is to bring as much talent as I can to the team. Coach's job is to figure out how that works together. But we need the competitiveness. If we want to be a winning team, that competition starts in practice and training camp and the individual stuff. And you've got 2 high-level competitors here that are going to push and be professionals every day.
Chris, what does stand out to you, and how do you envision kind of incorporating Taurean into what you guys want to do?
Yeah, just to answer a couple of questions, Dane, really you are in the NBA now what you can guard. And particularly in our offense, there's really not a lot of difference between 3 and 4. So that speaks to the versatility. that Torian can bring. What we love is when we studied him is that his best seasons were in systems that trended very similar to the way that we play. I think he'll benefit from a green light mentality like all of our guys do, a lot of freedom, and just, again, that experience and that versatility and, adding depth to the roster and just another interchangeable piece.
We'll go last questions on the Zoom to Chris Hine. Chris Hine, go ahead.
Torian, just how do you see yourself fitting in stylistically with how this team wants to play?
I think that's a pretty easy question. I mean, if you look at the stats, you see guys averaging 15, four guys averaging 19. So to me, that says that the ball moves around, and like Coach said, that gives a lot of opportunity to everybody. And I think that's some of the best systems because everybody likes to play off of each other, and I think that maximizes everybody's potential as well.
All right, that'll wrap up the questions. We'll do a photo opportunity here with Torian and Chris and Gerson. All right, Torian, thank you very much. One more. All right, thank you, Torian. We'll now welcome up Leandro Bolmaro to the stage. A 6'6" guard. Leandro wrapped up his second season with FC Barcelona's primary team, where he capped off a stellar year by winning the Spanish League Championship and being named Liga ACB's Jugador Más Espectacular, the league's most spectacular player. Bolmaro joins a list of 3 current NBA players to be awarded Most Spectacular Player in ACB play. The Argentina native averaged 6 points and 2 assists per game this past season and also appeared for his national team in the Tokyo Olympics. Let's open it up to some questions for Leandro.
Leandro, just welcome to Minnesota. What are your emotions right now to finally be here after being drafted a couple of years ago and playing overseas, and now here it comes?
Thank you. I'm really excited. I waited this moment for a long time. I worked like crazy to be here. So for me, this is a dream came true. I want to enjoy and work and work.
Hey, Leandro, what about your game do you think translates to the NBA right now that you can bring to the Timberwolves right now?
I want to have the team to win. After my game will go alone, but just I want to win, like say Pat. Do the best of I can and try to help the team and do the best that I can, 100% always.
Leandro, from what you know now, how different do you expect the game to be in the NBA from what you've played in the past?
I think it's so different. I saw this couple of days when I was practicing with them. It's so fast, it's more running, but I have to use to do that, and I like it that, so I think it will be good.
Hey, Leandro, between playing in Europe and playing in the Tokyo Olympics, what part of your basketball journey do you think has prepared you the best to be successful in the NBA?
I think how I work every day and how I prepare to be ready in the opportunity that I have. I think this is the thing that brought me here, so I will keep doing that to be the best that I can, like I said before, and help to the team.
Leandro, what positions do you think that you'll be able to play in the NBA right away?
Doesn't matter the position that the coach say, I will do.
Chris, what kind of player do you have here? I mean, how do you see him fitting in, and what positions? Kind of how can you deploy him?
Yeah, it's fearless. The word that when I went to watch him play and practice for Argentina in preparation for the Olympics, first time I had seen him live, I said, this kid's fearless, and we love that about him. Competes, he's bouncy, knows how to play basketball, moves well off the ball, fits in around all of the pieces that we already have. That gives you a foundation to be able to get on the floor and help early because, you're a great complementary piece out there. I think what's really neat here, I'm watching our guys, this is his moment. This is a dream come true. And not only is that type of excitement and energy that he has right now to be here is what he brings to the floor. He's always smiling. He's always happy. And these are things that, really, again, help form the culture and the soul of a team.
And Gerson, how does the organization help Leandro just kind of get acclimated here? New city, new country, new league, all of that stuff to just try and put him in a position to succeed?
It really helps that Leandro's already made a transition. He went from Argentina to Europe, played there, and now the transition here. But we're fortunate in not only our vets, not only our players, but we've tried to do as much as we can over the last year. And this is a big credit to our staff. He's the culmination of a very powerful draft class that you add Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, and we're just as excited about Leandro as well. That's really going to change the future of our organization. And that's very exciting that he had to wait a year, but now being here, that gave us a year to really connect with him as much as we could. It helps to have Pablo Prigioni here to help him, who was also involved with the national team in Argentina. But Coach said it. It's like the passion, the drive, the competitiveness. This guy, you know what you're getting every day in practice, in games, in individual workouts, in the weight room. And we need that. That's got to be our character. That's got to be our DNA. The more competitors we can have in this building, the more we'll be able to accomplish our goals. And the organization's gone above and beyond to help him through this transition, but he deserves credit. His English is great, even though he gets nervous sometimes. The community's been great. He's been around. We've had him on the boat. It's been fun. It's been a fun process for him, and he's embracing it. To be fair, I don't think he had any idea of what Minneapolis was like, but the more he's been around, he already found the Argentinian restaurants, so that's a good start. But Pablo's been a great mentor for him. I know Coach will do great work with him, but it's part of who we are and what we're about.
We have a couple questions on the Zoom. We'll go to Chris Hine first. Chris, go ahead.
For either Gerson or Chris, just what sort of expectations do you have for Leandro in year one here in terms of contributing right away and playing time and things like that?
We don't have any expectations other than to just be himself, play hard. We said, what is it going to take for him to help us on the floor? He does a lot of that right now. He guards his position. He guards multiple positions, and he can play well without the ball in his hands. He's a really good system fit. He's got to learn the NBA, both in terms of the speed of the game and also just studying, like Pat said. And you can see a relationship building between Pat and Leo already, which is going to be huge because he's going to be able to impart a lot of this knowledge as a defender against all these guys that you're going up to against every night, and all those little things just that keep building on himself. So the expectation is just to come in, be himself, stay positive, work hard, and at some point you'll crack through because talented players in the league always do.
Yeah, Chris, I would just add to that. The focus is for him to maximize every day and being here with us, making the most of this opportunity and pushing our guys. You always want to be realistic with rookies. You understand there's a translation period that goes there, but what he does translates to our game. Multi-position defender, improving shooter, playmaker, ball handler. We want to see where that plays out, but we're going to make sure we focus on his development and that he maximizes every day.
Our next question will come from Antonio Rodriguez. Antonio, go ahead.
Thank you very much. I want to ask Leandro in Spanish, if there's no problem. Leandro, ¿cómo estás? Antonio Rodríguez de ESPN Deportes. Un gusto saludarte. Quiero preguntarte, ¿qué significa para ti, si nos puedes explicar un poco de cómo te sientes llegar a esta liga después de la temporada pasada que tuviste en Barça?
Respondo en español, ¿no?
Sí, en español.
No. No, la verdad que es un sueño. Siempre desde pequeño soñé con esto, creciendo, haciendo otro deporte, pero lo tenía en la mente. Y ahora tener la oportunidad acá es algo increíble, que bueno, voy a aprovechar al máximo. y quiero ser cada día mejor para tratar de ayudar al equipo a ganar y bueno, poco a poco ir ganando mi espacio en el equipo.
Our last question will come from Leonardo. Leonardo, go ahead.
Leandro, ¿qué tal? Buenas tardes, te saluda Leonardo Torres desde Perú. Felicidades por tu firma por Minnesota. Viniendo de FIBA, ¿qué crees que le puedes aportar a la NBA y cuán importante será Pablo Prigioni en tu adaptación? Muchas gracias.
Gracias. Bueno, tener a Pablo, la verdad que es un honor. Lo admiro muchísimo y me está ayudando muchísimo en la adaptación. Y después lo que puedo traer es básicamente lo de siempre, mi intensidad, mi energía, mi defensa, en ataque hacer lo que el equipo necesite, pero sobre todo intensidad y energía, que es lo que me trajo hasta acá y lo que mejor me sale, así que voy a tratar de hacer eso.
Just to translate a little bit, the first question was how much of a dream come true it is to be in the NBA after playing in Europe and playing internationally, and he said it's his greatest fulfillment of his dream, and still doesn't feel real, but with the season starting here, he's very excited. And the second question was how does he think he's going to impact the team similar to Chris's, and the role that Pablo Prigioni is going to play, and just the ability to play hard, compete on both ends, and find whatever ways he can help the team day in and day out.
All right, thank you, Gerson. Let's do a photo opportunity here with Leandro and Gerson and Chris. All right, Leandro, thank you. Let's welcome up Jared Vanderbilt and welcome Vando back to the Timberwolves as he officially re-signed this afternoon. Last season, Jared showed that hustle, energy, and heart as he set career highs across the board, seeing action in 64 games, playing 18 minutes a night while averaging 5 points on 61% shooting and adding 6 rebounds a game. Let's open it up to some questions for Vando.
Hey, Vando, just a long summer kind of going through the process in the business. How did you kind of navigate it through the whole way and just to see it finally come to fruition in this last week? How does it feel to be back here and know you have some security with you now?
It feels great. Like you said, to have some security and, in a sense, kind of not be comfortable, but like you said, just security. It was great, going through my first free agency. I didn't really know what to expect, but I'm glad that these guys gave me the opportunity to come back here. I feel like we got a great group of guys, great organization, and it just feels good to be part of something that's growing, and I feel like we're going in the right direction.
Vando, Coach Finch has talked about how defense begins the second the other team rebounds the ball, and one of your characteristics is to challenge the rebounder right away in the backcourt and then scramble back. Is that something that has always been a part of your game, or is that something that you picked up at Kentucky, or where did that come from?
I would say I always had a knack for the ball, just being a rebounder and getting loose balls. Like I always had a knack for the ball, but I feel like at Kentucky it was a little more emphasized, having a team with great guys and, everybody's pretty much a star in their role. I felt like me emphasizing and focusing on just rebounding. And like I said, I spoke with Cal about it, and he was like, man, this one knack right here could do it for you and get you to that next level. So that's when I kind of just locked in and focused on that. And, I would say it's been doing me pretty well.
And then on offense, obviously your three-point range is not prolific. So I'm wondering, cutting is emphasized a lot here. Is that something you've been working on over the summer, and is that something that you've been trying to figure out relative to Cat and your position on the floor and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I would say just trying to play off Cat, whether that's cutting, setting off ball screens, just being active, or putting pressure on the rim every time. Just knowing that Cat likes to, is a great three-point threat. So me trying to counter it is, always diving towards the basket or putting pressure on that rim. So, but as far as the jump rate, I've been working. I feel like it's going to progress as time goes on, and but as of right now, I feel like the way I can impact the game mostly is putting pressure on the rim.
Hey, Jared, with the way like injuries and opportunities not coming early in the career, does this mean a little bit more knowing that like you really earned that security that you did get today?
For sure. You know, I haven't had the easiest road. You know, coming in the league, I was injured. My first year, I was pretty much injured the whole year. And going from not being in the rotation and due to some injuries and COVID and stuff like that, I was given the opportunity. And I just tried to make the most of it. So it does feel a lot better, you know, knowing that it's earned and, you know, I put the work in and, you know, the reward is here. So, yeah, it feels great.
Gerson, what impact do you think Jared will have on the rebounding for the team this year?
Well, first off, before I get started on that, I want to thank Kevin Bradbury for being a good partner and pushing restricted free agency to its full go. But we're happy to be here today. And Jared's one of the top rebounders for his position. And offensively, defensively, it's what's got him in the NBA. And his knowingness of who he is and what he's about is great for us. People don't realize how young he is. People don't realize the background that he has coming into the NBA. But he's earned every opportunity here. And that's a story that we want to continue to tell. His ability to impact the glass on both ends, possessions are such a big part of our game, is incredible. And as he develops his skill set and continues to impact that with defense, with offense, and as you guys know, defensive rebound is one of the biggest keys for us moving forward. So he was a big priority, and our coaches, our development staff deserve a ton of credit. Jared and Jordan McLaughlin are the first fruits of our player development program, and to be able to keep them here in Minnesota speaks a lot of what the focus and the goal of this organization is.
And kind of going off what you just said, Gerson, you know, Jared, you've been a part of both the Iowa Wolves and the Minnesota Timberwolves, and alongside, you know, guys like J-Mac. Just what does it mean, and you know, how exciting is it for you to be able to grow alongside those guys and continue to, you know, be here long term, trying to build this thing into a winner?
Yeah, like I said, it's great. I feel like we've grown a great bond on and off the court, and being with guys like J-Mac, you know, knowing we started in Iowa and was able to come up here and make an impact on this level, you know, it just feels great. You know, like I said, I've seen the hours that J-Mac has put in and the work that he's put in as well, you know, staying extra hours. So to see it, you know, finally pay off and to stick around with a great group of guys that we already, you know, established a relationship with. I think we got a great young core, and I feel like we have the opportunity to do something special this year.
Do you anticipate that role may start to shift a little bit from, you've talked about sort of establishing yourself, to now having a raised level of expectations going forward on yourself?
Oh, for sure. Like I said, now it is a little bit of an expectation, but right now I just control what I control, go in there every day, work hard, give 100% effort, and just try to get 1% better each day. You know, that's my motto.
Hey, Chris, what do you think Jared's upside is in terms of a really young guy who is just starting to now be able to play consistently after all those injury issues earlier in his career?
Yeah, we're very bullish on Jared. I think the reason he was a priority for us is because when you looked at the first 1,000 minutes he's played in his career, which was basically this year, he's driving a lot of metrics that really affect winning. And we were very fearful that some of the smart teams out there would also see these things, and we were lucky to have him back. So to answer your question, like he does a lot of things that you don't measure in a traditional box score that really affect your ability to win basketball games. So.
Chris, it was quote-unquote garbage time minutes where Jared was able to work his way into your rotation. How did your opinion of him change from when you got here to the end of the season?
Well, I think my opinion didn't necessarily change. It just was obviously a discovery going through a lot of different lineup combinations. As we were trying to kind of change the priorities of what we felt was important in terms of getting on the floor, he did earn his position back in those garbage time minute games. I think it was Milwaukee and Brooklyn. They were back to back, and we had two really poor performances. And he went out there when we were down 20 and played inspirationally. And if you're trying to change a culture, that has to be rewarded. And so that's really what kind of like we were at that point. We were cycling through like all types of guys, just trying to find things that fit. So, you know, like anyone will tell you in the league, we always tell these guys to stay ready. Your chance always comes back around to you. You have to be ready to seize that. And he did that. He didn't let it go. And then he helped us really finish well down the stretch.
Thank you for all the questions. We'll do a photo op here with Chris and Gerson and Jared. Thank you, Vando. And last but not least, welcome back, J-Mac. Jordan McLaughlin became a staple in the Wolves rotation last year, appearing in 51 games, averaging 5 points, 4 assists, and a steal in 18 minutes a game. In February at Charlotte, he registered a career-high, tying 4 steals in just 22 minutes of play, becoming the 17th player in club history to have multiple games with 4 or more steals as a reserve. Also, his 7 assists on January 20th against Orlando. He became the 14th member in Timberwolves history to have 5 or more games off the bench with at least 7 dimes. We'll open it up to some questions for Jordan McLaughlin.
Hey, Jordan, just the time that you got with Coach Finch after he came along, how valuable is that in terms of you understanding your role in the offense and what's expected of you going into next year, and then also playing with D'Angelo Russell as much as you did? How do you feel like what your opportunity will be like to see significant minutes this season?
Yeah, when Coach Finch came over, it was a learning process for me, going from Saunders to Coach Finch, figuring out what he likes on the floor and trying to pick his brain, and then figuring out what I can do to help the team win. He wants me to go out there and attack, put pressure on the paint, kick the ball out to shooters, and take my layups when I have them, and just be aggressive. And so once I figured out that's what Coach Finch needed from me, I just tried to do that to my best ability.
Jordan, what changes when you go from year to year deals, contracts, to having like long-term stability and knowing you're going to be with a team for a while? Does that change the mindset at all?
No, my mindset is going to be the same. Like Bev's mindset, when he first got in the league, he needed to prove himself, and I still got to do that. From day one, I've always made the most of my opportunity, and I look forward to keep doing that.
Jordan, when you think about adding things to your game now, as you've been in the league for a couple of times, what's kind of that next step for you now that you're here?
Yeah, just keep growing defensively, and then also just not being able to knock down shots consistently. When guards try to go under on pick and rolls, being able to knock down that shot consistently has been something I've been focusing on a lot.
And then Gert, one of the longest tenured Timberwolves now. I mean, he came in right when you came here. What was your vision for him if you go back to 2019 and what he could kind of become and where he is today?
He's one of our elder statesmen here. Now, Jordan's story is incredible. You talk about a guy who came in undrafted, battled around the G League. John Luca had him in Brooklyn, and the opportunity to bring him here when we came over was a focus of ours. We loved his character. We loved what he was about. Brought him in the summer league and really impressed us. Showed us that he had a lot of potential. Showed us that he was a good fit for our system, and we were at heavy need for point guard at that point, and our guys were pretty unanimous. Like, we wanted to take a bet on J-Mac, and to see an individual who has to fight each day and not to worry about two-way dates or travel dates or practices or this and that, like, that's tough. And Vando's the same way. It sounds so easy when you tell a player, hey, stay ready. You're not playing. You're just practicing. You're not getting opportunities in games. Stay ready. For them to be here today, it speaks to who they are, their character, their work ethic, their professionalism. They stayed ready, and they made the most of that opportunity. But Jordan has continued to answer the call. Every situation, we take injuries. We need, his development in Iowa was huge. The way he impacted things there, the way he helped our players there, coming back, being a guy that really pushed our guys in practice. And when he got the opportunity to play, he did it. And that speaks a lot to us. We really feel like he's just scratching the surface in terms of the type of player that he's going to be.
A couple years you've been with the Timberwolves. You've obviously learned a lot in who you've played with and where you've played. With bringing in a guy like Pat, what are you most excited to learn from somebody like him, given his background in the league?
Yeah, it's going to be great. Defense is one thing that I want to get better on, and that's the perfect guy to learn from. He's able to guard multiple positions, and he's undersized like me. So to be able to pick his brain every single day is going to be great for me, and not only myself but the team as well.
And then for Chris, just what stood out to you the most about J-Mac when you first came in? And he obviously was forced to play more with D'Angelo being out. What stood out to you the most about his play, whether it be on the floor in a game or in practice?
Yeah, I loved his maturity. I love the fact that he plays with like a speed of his own. We want him to play fast, but he's never out of control. And he plays within the flow of the game. And then we were just better with him on the floor. Like when we had the opportunity to play him and D'Lo together, I thought that was a really nice combination. And I see combinations of Pat and J-Mac on the floor together. Like, again, just another guy that we can move around and play with lots of different, other players out there on the perimeter.
Hey, Chris, picking up from that a little bit, just in terms of what that guard rotation has, your ability to, I guess, mix and match depending on matchups, depending on who's playing well. I mean, what kind of flexibility does that give you as a coach to really kind of tinker and deploy different lineups?
Yeah, it gives us great flexibility, John, as we've talked about through the whole afternoon here, which is really the key to modern roster building. And it makes you deeper. And that's one thing that we were, at times we were thin at the point guard spot just because whether it be COVID, injury, just, maybe didn't have enough bodies there or enough capable handlers that could really initiate an offense. And fortunately, the way that we like to run things, like, we just expect guys to kind of do a few things and then be themselves. And so we're not overtaxing the point guard. But when you have natural point guard on the team, it's, of course, always a luxury.
To Gerson or Chris, with the roster changes made this offseason, the guys you brought in, the guys you brought back, how much closer did you get, do you think, to establishing maybe the roster that can carry forward the culture you envision for this team?
It's a process, and it takes time, it takes effort, but it takes the right people. And we feel good about not only the development of our young core and where they're going. This offseason with our coaches, what our staff has done on the court, off the court, is critically important to us. The additions we were able to make through trades were key for us in that we added guys that have the experience, that have been in winning programs, that give us what we need. But to be fair, until we do it, it doesn't mean anything. And we're saying the right things, we're doing the right things. We want to earn the right to win, and that comes day in and day out. That's what we're preaching to our group. That's what we're preaching as we go into training camp. But we have to do it. I feel good about this group. I feel excited about starting the season with this group and the work that we have to do. But we have to do it, and that's our focus.
Thank you for all the questions. Chris, you want to add to that?
No, I think we've made great strides in addressing like the needs that we had to go forward. I think the front office, Gerson and his crew, did a really, really good job. We had limited bullets this year. We weren't in the draft, but we had priorities and we nailed every single one of them.
Thanks for all your questions. Let's do a photo op with Chris and Gerson and J-Mac. And J-Mac, stay right there. Let's bring the rest of the guys up here. We'll do one big group photo. All right, our thanks to Jordan McLaughlin, Gerson Rosas, Chris Finch, Pat Beverley, Torian Prince, Leandro Bolmaro, and Jared Vanderbilt, as well as everybody in attendance here and watching virtually. We appreciate you joining us this afternoon. We'll see you on October 4th for the preseason opener here at Target Center against the New Orleans Pelicans. Have a great afternoon, everyone.